If you ever watch the news, it often seems like the world could end any minute. From tsunamis and earthquakes to wars and corruption, it's as though things are getting worse by the day. Fortunately, none of these seem to be significant enough to end all life as we know it. But there are still plenty of ways for that to happen. Join us as we look at 5 real ways the world could end. A scary thought is that the demise of our species could very well come from our own making. Since their invention, nuclear weapons have been a terrifying force of mankind. The world knows all too well the destructive capability they hold. Since the end of World War II, the scale and power of these devices has only increased. The theory of mutually assured destruction basically states that a nuclear attack by one superpower would be met with an overwhelming counterattack, leaving both sides utterly destroyed. With global tensions ever heightening, it seems the possibility of a nuclear war is not truly off the table. If that ever were to happen, it is a possibility that it could lead to the mass extinction of humanity. With massive nuclear weapons detonating, an incredible amount of dust, smoke, and debris would go into the upper atmosphere. This could block sunlight, and it would last for months or even years. This, of course, isn't even mentioning the widespread radiation, which would leave parts of the planet completely uninhabitable. Some possible aftermath scenarios include firestorms, nuclear winter, temporary or permanent loss of modern technology from electromagnetic pulses, and more. Do you remember those stories of how the dinosaurs went extinct? How a single asteroid was enough to block out the sun, creating an endless night? Something similar could happen here if we were to launch off our nuclear weapons. Just like the dinosaurs went extinct, humanity could follow a similar path. Of all the great disaster scenarios, easily the most famous is the Asteroid Strike. As previously mentioned, it is believed to be what killed off the dinosaurs, and there's no telling if humanity will someday suffer a similar fate. Scientists know of thousands of space rocks around our solar system that could potentially threaten our way of life under the right conditions. What's even scarier is that there are many other space rocks we don't even know about yet. The last major asteroid event occurred in 1908 in Siberia. The impact had 1,000 times the power of the Hiroshima bomb, but fortunately, it impacted an uninhabited 830 square mile area, only wiping out trees. There is also a 2.7% chance the asteroid 99942 Apophis could strike Earth on April 13, 2029. If it doesn't hit us then, it could come right around and hit us 7 years later. One thing is certain: we are not in the clear. In 1900, the global population was 1.6 billion. Today, nearly 8 billion people inhabit the planet. Certain estimates suggest that numbers could get as high as 11.2 billion by 2100. There are only so many resources to go around. Stephen Hawking believed overpopulation was one of the most severe issues facing the planet today, and he suggested the only way to circumvent it is to colonize other planets. Hawking was quoted as saying, "I am convinced that humans need to leave Earth. The Earth is becoming too small for us. Our physical resources are being drained at an alarming rate. When we have reached similar crises in our history, there has usually been somewhere else to colonize. Columbus did it in 1492 when he discovered the New World. But now, there is no New World, no utopia around the corner. We are running out of space." Suddenly, Thanos' plan doesn't sound so bad. Others argue we are a long way from being overpopulated. Most of the issues lie in major cities, with more rural towns having plenty of room to grow, build, and expand. No one knows for sure when overpopulation will become a real threat, but it's definitely a possibility in the not-so-distant future. Ever since we were young, we have learned about ice ages in history class. The last one ended roughly 12,000 years ago, and since then we have been in a greenhouse period. But ice ages aren't all a thing of the past. Our planet goes through cycles, meaning a future ice age is basically guaranteed. There is some good, albeit selfish news, however. Most scientists agree that the next ice age will not happen for tens of thousands of years. Interestingly enough, there are some who argue that increased greenhouse gas emissions will force a new ice age sooner, while there are others who say the opposite, that our emissions are delaying the next ice age. No matter the case, it will happen eventually, and when it does, it could be enough to end most of life on our planet. A significant enough glaciation would severely hinder photosynthetic life on Earth. This, in turn, would deplete oxygen. Life would not stop all at once, though. It would take years and years of the average temperature lowering before major changes began to happen. Undoubtedly, the population would shrink, but by how much depends on how severe the ice age is. One thing for sure is that our planet will go through another ice age in the future, one possibly bad enough to end life as we know it. Pandemics are something that all of us watching know a bit too well. Life as we know it came to a halt during COVID and opened the eyes of many about what else could come. Deadly pathogens pop up every year, and for the most part, scientists are able to handle the new illnesses. However, what would happen if a disease arose that we were unable to protect people against and was as severe as something like Ebola, which has a fatality rate around 90%? Smallpox and the bubonic plague took out substantial portions of the global population centuries ago. Today, the world is more interconnected than ever before. With air travel alone, it would not take long for a disease of humanity-ending proportions to spread globally. Bacteria has slowly grown more resistant to antibiotics, and viruses are mutating faster than ever before. With the polar ice caps melting, it is possible that ancient pathogens could once again be released into the world. Civilization has endured before, but what if we can't find a cure in time? Now, if I had to guess, I would bet that none of you expected fungus to top this list. Sure, we could have discussed the possibilities of a black hole or robots gaining sentience, but the truth of the matter is that those scenarios aren't very likely to happen ever. Meanwhile, there is a serious threat occurring around the world, and not much is being done to stop it. According to one international study, a new fungal infection has caused 90 species of frogs to go extinct. An additional 500 amphibian species have been affected, and their populations have declined substantially. This fungus is present in over 60 countries. Fungal infections already account for approximately 1.5 million human deaths every year, and with certain varieties of fungus evolving, a deadly strain could develop within our lifetimes. Bacteria may be deadly, but at least we do have antibiotics to try to treat it. On the other hand, doctors and scientists know far less about treating fungal infections. It is for this reason that fungal disease is often a main contributor to AIDS deaths. It is a threat that often gets overlooked, but a deadly strain evolving to affect humans could have disastrous effects on the population. In all honesty, there really is no reason to worry about the world ending. If it ever were to happen, then we are all going down with the ship. And besides, you face far more realistic threats on a daily basis and probably don't even realize it. So to see another video just like this one, then be sure to click the link on screen now. With that said, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.